Grand opening, grand closing. Welcome, my friends, my family, my fellow gamers, your only friend these YouTube streets, Border Rock 77, back with a commentary reaction video. Ono and Alex did the Helldivers to expose his PlayStation's failure, which is pretty hilarious given the state of PlayStation itself, at least in terms of success. He does make some points on this video. I'm gonna give some comments to some of the points he does, but it's weird because he doesn't acknowledge some of the things he likes about gaming in relation to why gaming was like that during the time. And I'll go into more detail as the video goes because, in order for me to explain right now, it would just be long. We could just go right into the video. A little bit of warning, I did speed up his video, so he's going to be talking a little bit faster than normal. That has nothing to do with his original, the way he presents it. I just sped up the dialogue to 1.5, to make the video go by a little quicker. You'll still be able to understand what he's saying, but I don't want you to think like, oh, why is he talking all weird, whatever. It's just speeding up. Let's listen to what he has to say.
When talking about the gaming industry, one question I like to ask is, what the hell happened? It's always this like really weird, deranged thing that for some reason all the companies that I grew up with and enjoyed with video games have all become a shell of their former selves.
So let's kick off with what he says. He's looking at the past and wondering why things were they were in the past and how gaming is now, right? So let's look at some of his points he likes to present.
Xbox is trying to find their way after losing the entire reason you bought an Xbox for the dude bro atmosphere and online trash talking experience. Nintendo has lost their way after doing everything they possibly can in order to be the most anti-consumer company I've ever seen on this planet. And for PlayStation, well, they're spending hundreds of millions of dollars trying to recreate the magic that is Helldivers 2. And man, it is not going good. And when we talk about what PlayStation is,
so I like his first 3 points. He uses Xbox 360, the dude bro console, right? Nintendo, he didn't make a good point because all he did was just say they're more expensive and more anti-consumer. But Nintendo's always been anti-consumer when you think about it, right? They've never been the anti-consumer product, right? I don't even like the term, but whatever. They always sell their stuff at what they sell. They've always been expensive. Hell, they used to sell games at $90 or whatever. So he didn't really make a case about that. And then he's talking about PlayStation trying to recapture the magic of Helldivers. In other words, they're going deep into their live service strategy, right? So all three, notice he says gaming grew up and he pointed at the 3 first party studios, right? He doesn't bring up EA, he doesn't bring up Capcom, he doesn't bring up Sega, he doesn't bring up anybody else. So he's talking primarily the 3 first party studios. Chances are, and not even chances are, when he looks at these 3 companies, he always brings up the past and how great they were in the past. But here's the thing: even Nintendo still are where they are, but with Xbox and PlayStation specific, they were pretty much like Nintendo, first party exclusives. They only cared about their ecosystem. So yeah, during the 360 era, that's all Xbox cared about. They cared about their exclusives. They cared about the dude bro ecosystem, right? PlayStation, when they were not concerned about PC at all or any platform, they were concerned about their storytelling and the things they did for their ecosystem. They weren't concerned about branching out and trying to capture more gamers outside of their ecosystem, stuff like that. I mean, ultimately, Alex, you got what you wanted. You've been cheering for more games on more platforms, put games everywhere. It shouldn't be locked behind consoles. What you didn't, and it's the old adage: be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. Well, you got it, Alex. You got what you advocated for. You wanted these companies to be multi-platform, put their games everywhere, and they are doing that. What you didn't think about is the execution of that strategy and how they're going to do it. You want them to put games everywhere, so now they're thinking about everybody. And they're using metrics and all that stuff to gauge everybody. So no, Microsoft is not the dude bro company because that doesn't engage everybody. Everybody doesn't want a dude bro specific brand. So guess what? The dude bro mentality is gone. Dude bro doesn't sell to the mass audience. PlayStation, their specific single player storytelling things specific for PlayStation, they needed to expand out of, or they want to expand out of that. So they got to make decisions that gathers everybody. And right now, live service games is the wave. Sure, lots of failures, But when the game hits, it hits and everybody loves it. That's just how it is. For Nintendo, you're just complaining about the price. I mean, we all complain about the price, but when it comes to their core audience, that's all they're focused on. That's why Nintendo is still Nintendo. They're not chasing live service strategy. The only thing you can say is that they're just a very expensive brand, overcharging for their games and all that stuff, right? But I think the reason why they're getting away with it because they're sticking to their brand. If you don't like their brand, don't buy it. But the people who do like their brand, they're buying it, and clearly Switch 2 setting the record for launch console sales shows their community is willing to pay for it. I mean, it is what it is.
Is trying to recreate, take a simple look at this. According to Hazardor Gaming on Twitter, Helldivers 2 is currently the #1 top paid game on the Xbox store for the United States. It's so funny to see all the narratives that are completely being broken in front of every single fanboy simply because of this tweet. In fact, I went into the Xbox store page just to verify it myself, and lo and behold, at the time of this recording, it was in fact #1 on the Xbox top paid games for the US. All the garbage of Xbox gamer don't buy game, Xbox train your customers not to buy game, Colin Moriarty taking a tube in his
this one game doesn't change that, Alex. All right, you got a broken clock. Twice a day, that clock is gonna work. It's gonna have an accurate time twice a day. So the clock works. The clock is fine. Last month, and the funny part is we already seen something similar. Last month, Final Fantasy 16 was the 4th best-selling game on Xbox. The 4th best-selling thing. It was among the top 5. But in the top 20 overall, there was no Final Fantasy. Okay? So a top-selling game on Xbox doesn't mean much. The audience isn't there, right? You got to look at math. You got to look at it this way, Alex. Let me help you out. Let's say you have 30 million people, which pretty much what Xbox has. Out of the 30 million, let's say half don't buy games no more. Doesn't buy games no more because they're on Game Pass. Okay, cool. So now you're down to the 15 million. Okay? Out of the 15 million, let's say a game sells 200,000 copies. Not a lot, but sells 200,000 copies. But there's no other game that sold 200 copies during that time period. Every other game selling like 75,000, 180,000. Guess what? A 200,000 copy game is going to be #1 on that specific platform. Okay. Now you take that 200,000 copies and you put it, let's say, on the PlayStation platform. Where does a game that sells 200,000 copies fall on PlayStation? It'll end up like 29. Right. So the top paid games within the store don't mean much because a game could sell 80,000 copies and technically be #1 at Xbox store because during that time period, 80,000 is the most for that time period. Okay. That's why I would say to tell people you're probably going to want to wait till Circana MPD because that's when the top selling games on Xbox, how does it translate in the overall sales and among with PlayStation, PC, and Nintendo, where does that fall out? Again, the 4th best selling game on Xbox, Final Fantasy 16, did not chart at all on the top 20 charts. So #4 doesn't mean anything in context, right? Sure, it's #4 within Xbox, but the ecosystem doesn't sell a lot of games. So the #1 selling game, it would be like this. The #1 team in high school football doesn't mean a damn thing in the NFL. Does that make sense?
And then huffing all the farts as he breathes them in, is now trying to figure out what the hell is going on. Because clearly, this is a direct signal to PlayStation. Putting their games on every platform is going to be beneficial for them in the future. And you can see this happen more and more. Simply because gaming is in fact far too expensive. And too many games are in fact fighting for your time. And PlayStation is not going to put up with the simple 100 million user base that you guys have been so accustomed to cheering for. Oh, 80 million consoles sold! Well, you know what? Nobody cares because even Capcom admits that the amount of console sales doesn't matter for them, especially for Monster Hunter Wilds. According to VGC, Capcom states the PS5 price is an unexpectedly large barrier for Monster Hunter Wilds sales, says the Capcom president. In the interview, it says this: the console costs around 80,000 yen, $540. Factoring the cost of software and monthly subscriptions, it comes around to 100,000 yen, $675 at the time of purchase. This is not an easily affordable price, especially for younger generations. This situation is not limited to Japan, but is similar overseas. Our next challenge is to overcome these barriers and get Monster Hunter Wilds to more people. Sales and other events will begin in the future, so we're currently developing a strategy to take advantage of these opportunities to boost sales throughout the year. I have talked.
So the biggest difference though is Capcom has no other recourse to make money. They don't have another recourse. They're a software provider and that's all they do. They don't have a platform where they, I don't know, cut like 30% off of GTA 6. Capcom's not going to make money off of Grand Theft Auto 6. They're not going to make money off of Madden, 2K, and all that stuff. They don't make money off that. So, yeah, Capcom, they need all devices. They got to spread the game, all devices, really any third party, right? Third party in general, that's their main core business. PlayStation, on the other hand, their main core business is a marketplace provider, right? So they got to have a balance, right? They can't treat themselves like Capcom, right? Because if you look at Xbox did what you wanted them to do. Don't worry about nothing. Just go put the games. And now Xbox is like, holy shit, they're just going to get out of the hardware industry. They're eventually going to get out the hardware industry. There's no point in hardware and you creating your own hardware if you don't have a fully functioning store, right? I think the whole Steam putting on the next Xbox or whatever, that's the dagger. Because now Microsoft's not even going to make 30% on a lot of games because most people are going to buy it off of Steam. They're slowly getting away from the hardware. If Sony goes this direction and fully supports everything, their hardware is going to go away. The point of the hardware is to have a market store. That's really the whole point. You have an ecosystem within your store. That's the whole point.
Talked about this ad nauseum. The price of gaming is far too expensive, and I've been left with so many idiots, clowns, and morons saying things like, "Get a job, Rogi. Oh, why don't you just go get some more money, guy?" And it's just continually shown over and over again that people on this planet do not have that kind of money to spend almost $800 on a console that is not even the pro version after the sub, after everything else, and then buying the system and then buying the game. Not to mention the PS5 Pro, which also got a price increase. Oh, look at that. That's another fun one. Just the console is over $800 with the actual attachable disc drive, not even including the stand. We're talking about game companies like PlayStation, like Xbox, like so many other.
Well, to be fair, gaming across the board has just gotten expensive. I mean, hell, we just got a handheld that's going to be sold for $1,400. How much does it cost to get 5,000 series GPUs? And they're not getting cheaper. See, right now, you guys are talking, oh, but I don't have to buy that. I could buy the 2070. Eventually, your 2070 is going to be useless. The 3000 series is going to be useless. Those products, they only last for so long, right? And for those who are still using like the 2000 series GPUs, you guys are playing like a 1080p medium settings. Y'all not at the best specs and stuff like that. You guys are not even playing at PS5 specs. All those things are going to go away. When all the legacy, GPUs and CPU processors start hitting the point where, yeah, these are useless, and now you are forced to get into the 4000 series, the 5000 series, and eventually 6000 series, and so on and so on, it's expensive across the board. Electronics is expensive across the board. The days of cheap electronics is over. It's over. Even the Switch 1 got a price increase. Electronics are expensive. That's the new wave. Period. I mean, golly, $1,300 handhelds we're at this point.
Others and Nintendo going through and raising the prices of everything because the line has to keep going up. And they're going to be realizing very soon that everything is going to be coming to a head when they squeeze too much and people are going to push back and no longer purchase those products. It got so bad that Xbox finally took the lead on something and reduced the price of their games back to $70. But you can bet your sweet Bippy at some point those games will go back to being $80 when variable pricing kicks back in. Thanks.
Well, yeah, because Outer Worlds not that game to sell $80. Grand Theft Auto 6, $80. You think that's slowing down the sales? Outer Worlds just not the game. Some games ain't worth $80. Some games ain't worth $70. It is what it is, But at the end of the day, guess what? That's on the consumer. Let the company charge whatever they want to charge. The consumer is going to respond. I don't see it as a problem as a game company spending $200 million on a game or $300 million on a game. It's not coming out of my pocket, right? As long as it's a game I want to play and it's a great game, I'll buy it. That's just how it is, right? And it's going to be commensurate with the technology. If the budget of the game doesn't go up, that means they're not taking advantage of the hardware. Then what's the damn point of making new hardware? We should just stop. Hardware should just stop making. No more GPUs. No more new consoles. Just stop right now. Leave it as is. Just keep making what we got. Don't bring out a PlayStation 6. Don't bring out the next Xbox. No more new AMD technology, right? New AMD GPUs. No new NVIDIA GPUs. No new CPU, nothing. Just stop. Just leave it what it is. Completely put a freeze on everything. And we'll just stay like this for the next 20 years. Does that sound like a great idea? Because that's the only way things ain't going to get us up. We just stay stagnant and just lock it in. Just lock it in. Just lock in technology across the board. No more. We got what we got. And we stay here for the next 20 years. At that point, budgets ain't going to increase because there's no new technologies to take advantage of. There's no new features, new things that GPUs bring onto play. We just completely stay stagnant. You think gamers are going to appreciate that? I don't know.
It's Nintendo. And this is why I come back to PlayStation. I've talked about Xbox before and their behavior. I've definitely talked about Nintendo and their behavior. But right now, it is PlayStation's turn. You see, because over the weekend, we found some really insane news, especially concerning Fair Games and things that Herman Hulst has said himself. According to Game Rant, Sony's live service title Fair Games loses another key developer during development. Recently on LinkedIn, Daniel Drapeau announced that he had left Haven Studios and his position as creative director on Fair Games. He goes on to confirm in his post that he has joined Warner Brothers Games Montreal in the same role, expressing excitement over this next stage of his career. Unfortunately for Sony, Drapeau's departure is another major blow to Sony's live service plans, as well as Fair Games' already rocky development, with gameplay details being relatively scarce following its official reveal during 2023 PlayStation Showcase. This is honestly massive. Not only is this the first time a developer has left Haven Studios, Jade Raymond herself, the whole reason the studio was even founded and funded by PlayStation, she left as well. PlayStation has continuously gone down this insane route of trying to recreate live service game after live service game. In fact, when you look...
Congratulations, Alex. You caught up to me from 5 years ago. Congratulations, buddy. You're finally there. You're finally there. You're finally where I was at. Hell, I was there. I was already there before the PS5 even launched, before the official announcement of live service game was done by Sony. When people was just talking about that Sony needs to really hit hard on multiplayer, I was like, leave that nonsense alone. Leave it alone. It is what it is. Listen, it's okay if Sony's not good at multiplayer. It's absolutely okay. It is absolutely okay, because the thing that people probably are primarily buying PlayStations for is just ability to make these single player exclusives and stuff like that. These single player contents. That's the primary driver, right? Sure, they got their little lightning in a bottle with Helldivers, but I'm pretty sure you're going to talk about everything else. The primary driving force on PlayStation has always been their single player games, and that's okay. I don't understand why people are trying to force something, trying to force failure, as if there's a law that must be done. No. Do what you're good at. Take care of what you got. It's already proven. It's already a proven formula. No one says, if Sony doesn't do live service games, I'm not going to buy a PlayStation. Said no one. People will still buy a PlayStation, and they get what they actually want.
You look at the actual cancellations that happened over the past couple of years. If you look back at the last 2 years or so, you can clearly see PlayStation giving the axe whether they were announced or in fact unannounced. And they did all of this even though the simplest W's were in fact in their corner, burning hundreds of millions of dollars, dare I even say maybe even close to $1 billion, because Concord alone was estimated to cost them $400 million to put that game out, and it got shut down 2 weeks after its release. And you see there's...
Gee, Alex figured it out. He got it all figured out. Yeah, 5 years later. Kidding me? I've been talking about this. I said Sony's multiplayer strategy is the worst strategy ever. And that was years ago. Now it's just turning out.
A reason why I bring up Helldivers, because what you're going to be seeing now is a company like Sony no longer betting on themselves. They're going to be betting on everybody else. People talk about the death of Xbox. You're looking right now at the very inception of the death of PlayStation, hanging around and putting their games onto competing platforms, trying to make back as much money as they possibly can, because the bets that they're hedging are not going to be the right ones. And at the very tippy top is the guy running the show, causing all of these problems. If it wasn't for him, it'd be the guy before him. That's right, good old Hermy Hulst. This dude is running this company into the ground.
No, he's not. He's doing exactly what you wanted. So stop the cap. He's doing what you wanted. You voted for this. So cut the bullshit, Alex. This is what you wanted. Herman Hulst is doing what you guys wanted. Games everywhere. That's literally his strategy. Try to figure out games everywhere. So don't say he's running into the company ground now. You voted for this. So don't come and be the guy, whatever. Us PlayStation guys, we don't like Herman Hulst. He took away the focus on PlayStation. He ain't listening to us no more. If anything, he's listening to you. The problem is, you don't like the methodology they took. You want things that, oh no, Alex, wait, that doesn't work, buddy. Because everyone's in the play now. They're using data, they're using information, they're using analytics across the board, across everyone. That's all PC gamers, all console gamers, all Nintendo gamers, all Xbox gamers. They're taking all the analytics of every single gamer, from the most casuals to the most hardcore, and they're trying to formulate a strategy that pleases the most maximum audience possible. And we know the whole saying. When you try to please everyone, you end up pleasing no one. This is what you wanted. You wanted games everywhere. They're doing that. You just don't like the methodology. Oh well, it is what it is. But don't come say, oh my God, you're ruining all. No, he's not ruining. They're doing exactly what you want. Going beyond the hardware, going beyond the box, going beyond the community, going beyond the identity. It's all about all devices. Listen, PC is not PlayStation. Xbox is not PlayStation. Nintendo is not a PlayStation. None of those devices are a PlayStation. PlayStation is a culture, just like, as you said earlier, Xbox was the dude bro console. That was a culture. That was specific to them. Nintendo, you see how they do things. That is specific to them. You got to have an identity. You got to have culture. And when you look at the identity in that culture, you start to produce content and be like, what is the best games for this culture? But you didn't want that. You want the games everywhere. So that's what they're doing. And this is what we got.
Jim Ryan was doing it before him, and Herman Hulse decided, oh, let me take a sip from the juice and do the exact same thing. I can go back over and over and find classic PlayStation, PS1, and PS2 games that to this day would be insane to play. The fact that SOCOM hasn't been worked on from the very beginning is truly a travesty among all of them. If they're looking for...
Yeah, that's your fault. Because PlayStation's not listening to us. That's literally one of the top games PlayStation gamers have been talking about for years. On top of Bloodborne. And you're not seeing these games. Why? Because of you. Because you said put games on my platform, put games on my PC, games should be everywhere. And Sony's like, oh yeah, we're going to put games everywhere. But we're going to use analytics and metrics to see what everyone wants. Meanwhile, us PlayStation gamers, hey, Sony, bring back SOCOM. Sony's like, yeah, that might not work for the whole entire audience. Hey, Sony, Bloodborne, please? Yeah, that might not work. Resistance? This game, that game, all the PlayStation Classic catalogs that PlayStation gamers enjoyed? Nope. They want to make purple games. They want games that are on the level of like a Fortnite and Apex Legends and all this other stuff. Because you are now part of the equation. Your PC Nation is now part of the equation. So we're not getting the SOCOM. They're not doing that. That's a PlayStation specific ideology. And they're not going for that. They're not listening to us. Yo, you would listen. They're not giving us a Bloodborne. That's an easy win. What is more obvious than a Bloodborne 2? That is like straight up obvious. You don't have to be a genius. You don't even have to be like a hardcore gamer to figure that one out. And they're still not even doing that.
For a live service title, when right now what people want is a 5-on-5 class-based system with a military style to it, and especially having the SOCOM name attached to it as well. And don't give me they don't want to pay the money for the license, or they sure should pay $400 million for Concord. They don't want to give the US Navy the money for that as well. That's a stupid argument. PlayStation is hedging their bets.
No, it ain't that. They don't believe that game's gonna sell. They don't believe that's it. They have analytics across everything. They want to make purple games. They want to make extraction shooters. They want to make battle royale. It is what it is. You got what you wanted, bro. Gaming's everywhere. Love it. Enjoy it. Eat it up. Eat it up. Remember, I think you made a video. I'm the customer. Listen to me. Yes, you're the customer. So here you go. Buy the shit they're offering. I don't know what to tell you.
In all the wrong directions, and they're doing everything that they possibly can in order to fail in the most spectacular way possible, with ever-inflated budgets consistently over and over again. Old heads like Sean Layden saying, buy your games day one. There weren't enough sports cars in the parking lot of SIE to this day compared to back then, and then all the other bullshit we hear over and over again, not providing the customer and consumer with the actual product that they want. Meanwhile, the reason why I brought Helldivers up is because they're doing it. You see, Helldivers is doing exactly what the consumers want, what the actual players want, what people who give the money want. They said, oh, guess what? OEST, we're going to put that shit in there the right way. Oh, guess what? Now we're going to keep updating the game consistently, giving you more content over and over again, more war bonds to keep playing, more ways of actually having fun with your friends while you play our video game. You see, that's what's missing from all of this.
They were going to do the same thing with Concord. Why do you think Sony was not going to add more content, keep it an update? Listen, their entire live service strategy is based around that. Every live service strategy game is going to do the same thing. They're going to constant updates, provide stupid marketing, partnerships. They're all going to do it. They're all going to do it. The only reason why this is successful is because this particular game was like in a bottle. People enjoyed the gameplay. That's it. You think Concord was not going to get updated? You think it was not going to get more map packs, more weapons, more war bonds, whatever the hell they called it? It was going to be the same thing. Marathon's going to be the same thing. That's the whole definition of live service game. Alex, every single game, live service game that Sony is going to try to release, it's going to have the same template formula. More content, updates, collaborations, all of it, right? What kicks it off, though, right? Because all that other stuff is stuff that comes in time. The initial impact is just simply the gameplay. Is this gameplay fun? Do people want the gameplay? If people don't want the gameplay, then it doesn't matter all the updates and content, whatever. People are just not going to play, and that's what happened to Concord. People saw this is generic. This looks like Overwatch. There's nothing meaningful with the gameplay, whatever. And here's the crazy part. If you look at the people who played it, whatever, from a technical perspective, nothing was wrong with Concord. You didn't hear people saying, "Oh, the server's crashing, the gunplay's bad." All the gameplay itself was solid. It's just generic. It was an Overwatch clone. People didn't like the look of the characters and all that stuff. They just wasn't interested. But you were gonna get all that. You were gonna get the same treatment, the same service, updates, and this, that, and third. Every live service game that Sony's gonna release is gonna have that formula. Hence, live service. So Helldivers is not unique in that sense. What made Helldivers hit was the gameplay. It had a gameplay that wasn't generic, that didn't match people. That's the key. Don't create games that's generic, right? Because it doesn't matter how much content it gets released. If it's generic, it's generic. That was the thing. But here's the thing though. Helldivers is lightning in a bottle. What other game is Sony's going to create that's not generic? It's going to be hard. It's going to be tough.
Every single video game company, and especially PlayStation, is missing the one word that is literally the reason why people play video games in the first place, and that is fun. You see, right now what's happening is there is this insane culture in PlayStation about having to be a sad dad with a little kid, whether it's a boy or girl, walking simulator to have some emotions about everything, instead of just being like, I want to blow shit up. That's the good shit right there. And you see it happen over and over again. We make fun of the PlayStation template.
Did he try to talk shit about God of War, a game that sells 10 plus million? Now you're just getting stupid, Alex. You're really gonna argue a game that sells 10 plus million. You really, so the rest in this video, you're going to attempt to talk shit on a game that says 10 plus million, even 20 million. You're not really gonna do that. You're not really gonna be this dumb to say gamers don't want a game that says 12 plus million. You're really gonna go there. All right, let's hear your nonsense.
Like that third person over the shoulder, most cinematic storyline.
Every one of those games is successful. Hell, even I would say the one game that's not successful is Days Gone, right? And even that game sold like 7 to 8 million. That whole picture is showing 10 plus million selling games that people want. And when those sequels come out, they're gonna sell 10 plus million. So you can make fun of the template all you want. They sell 10 plus million. People want them. So I don't understand what your argument is going to be in this one. This doesn't make sense. You're literally going to make fun of a game that ends up selling 10 plus million copies. Get a clue, Alex.
Gameplay where all you do is basically just take the controller and you put that bitch down for 45 minutes while you watch the fucking game being played in front of you, and then do a QTE cutscene by pressing square, and then you tap X randomly while you're doing that. Yay, game!
Bro, have you not seen Kid Smooth play The Last of Us on grounded level? The man beat the shit out of his controller. Like, we've seen the games. Like, Alex, we see the games. We know how they play, right? The only people you're fooling, I'm going to tell you, the only people that believe you, I'm going to tell you, the people who believe you right now are the people who don't play games. So, yeah, people who don't play these games, yeah, they're going to believe you. Literally, seen Kid Smooth beat the crap and break his controller ungrounded. Come on, bro. What are we doing here?
Gameplay. No, that's not fun. Nobody likes that. That's the problem with the industry. Nobody
likes that. It's just selling 10 plus million because people are just going to keep buying these games because they don't like. Are you dumb, Alex? If people didn't like these games, they would be like Concord. Complete failure. Last of Us 3. You really think Last of Us 3 is not going to send 10 plus million? They didn't even announce it, but I'm going to tell you, when that game gets announced, oh yeah, 10 plus million. Horizon Zero Dawn 3, 10 plus million. You really gonna bet on Horizon 3, not saying 10 plus million. Intergalactic Heritage Project. Yeah, you think that's gonna flop? That's not dropping 10 million? Really? Really? Nobody likes those games, but they just magically get bought and people enjoy them and play them. In fact, that's what people are begging for. Come on now.
He has any fresh new ideas, and nobody's trying anything new. And the crazier part is, instead of PlayStation saying, hey, what?
Not trying anything new. Astrobot, Returnal, Stellar Blade. I mean, Sony literally has like an entire project, China Hero project. They're also expanding into the Middle East and Africa to produce, to get access to new creators with new creative ideas. They literally have projects based on that. And they're not trying anything new. And then let's look at some of the other stuff they did back in the past, like Concrete Genie and Dreams and stuff like that. Yeah. But nothing new. Okay.
Why don't we siphon off small teams and then do things the right way and then make smaller titles with smaller scopes and then build them up so that way they can just enjoy the actual fruits of our labor? They want to keep pumping money into these cinematic types of games, pushing graphics to the next level, having the eye veins in video games pop out so you can see more of them because that's exactly what people don't want in a video game.
10 million sales says you're wrong, brother. Like, do I have to keep repeating like the amount of money, amount of sales these games go through? Like, do you think somebody goes, oh, let me whip out my wallet, pay $60, $70 for this game that I don't want? You think that's how the world works, Alex? So when you see, oh, Last of Us 2, 4 million in 3 days, you think it was a bunch of people that didn't want the game. Like, what are we going after? Listen, graphics is part of the culture. It's literally a visual aid. You see it. People want better graphics. People don't want to play games with the graphics of a PS1, PS2. It's just how it is. Video games is also graphical in nature. And the best developers, they get to do it all. The best developers, they balance out gameplay, story, voice, effects, graphics, and all of it at top notch. You really think Grand Theft Auto 6 is gonna come out with the same graphics of Grand Theft Auto 5 on PS3 or even on the PS4? Really? You really think so? Gaming is also graphical in nature. That's just how it is. People want great graphics in their games. That has never changed. That's always been that way. Always. In fact, that's some of the first thing people look about, because that's kind of like the tangible thing. That's like the first tangible thing you see when a new generation comes, right? Because it's not like you instantly get gameplay, right? When they introduce a new console, you don't instantly get gameplay. No, the first thing you look at is like, all right, what's the difference between this gen and the previous gen? What are the advantages they do that? Right here, ray tracing, big stuff, right? Now, I could say there's going to be diminishing returns as every gen goes up, right? But that still doesn't change the fact that the first thing people are going to see, everyone sees, is graphics and then performance and all that stuff. That's just the nature of the beast with gaming.
And the crazy thing about this right now is at the time of this recording, Fair Games has not been canceled. Who knows what will happen later on throughout its actual development, because losing the actual head of the studio and then also losing a key developer does not bode well.
Most of us already bet, hell, I bet Fair Games was going to get canceled. Shit, after Concord canceled. My opinion, Marathon's the only one that has hope of staying alive, and that's because they don't have a choice. They spent $3.6 billion on Bungie. They don't have a choice but to launch Marathon. They don't have a choice. Marathon's launching. Fair Games, that's a whole different story. But $3.6 billion for Bungie? Oh yeah, Marathon is launching come hell or high water. Sony doesn't have a choice with that game.
Well for things overall. And talking about not boding well and hedging your bets in the wrong places, the fact that Marathon is delayed and not canceled is really wild to see. Bungie was the $3 billion mistake PlayStation made. You could call that the cat.
Well, it's not. Like I said, $3.6 billion. That game is coming out. They don't have a choice. If they cancel Marathon, what do they do? That game has to come out. $3.6 billion. They don't have a choice.
Catalyst on the entire process right now. They are fumbling the bag in every conceivable way, and it is really wild to watch as fanboys will say stupid shit like this, talking about Helldivers didn't make any sales on Xbox, when we turn on and see it selling #1 on the Xbox Store page. Hell, it's even gotten so bad that there are in fact plans for PlayStation to finally absorb Bungie completely, basically just ruining an entire studio that we've all loved from the very beginning when it was on Xbox. According to Games Radar back in early...
Yeah, but they haven't been on Xbox. My God. Like before they left after Reach. So what, 2010? 2011? So you're talking about something like 12 years ago?
August, Sony says Bungie's independence is getting lighter as it aims to launch the Destiny 2 studio troubled new FPS marathon before April 2026. We're now fixing the problems, so we believe this launch will happen. I don't know about you, but I have zero faith in PlayStation fixing Marathon or even getting this game out by 2026. I feel this game is either going to get the axe, or when it does release, we're going to have a Concord 2.0 moment. This entire thing is going to be a massive trash fire from the very beginning. If they even pull this off, that would be insane and one of the biggest comeback stories of all time. But not everyone is a No Man's Sky. Not everyone knows how to shut their mouth and get back to work. And PlayStation has lost their way completely. And this is going to go back to what I said.
But that's what you wanted. Yeah, I agree. PlayStation lost their way. They're focusing on everybody. Instead of staying true to their core, that, the PlayStation that you like as the PS1 and PS2, right? The PlayStation, all PlayStation gamers with PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, stay to your core audience, stay focused on what you do good, make great games. People will come. Plain and simple. But guys like you cry, oh my God, I don't want to buy another plastic box because I like my plastic box. It's not fair. It's anti-consumer. Well, you got what you want. You got your wish. So shut up and support. Support this. I hate using the word support, but this is what you wanted. You voted for this. So deal with it. This is what you get.
about Helldivers. You see how it always goes back to the very beginning of what I'm talking about? Yeah, because they are trying to chase this train. They're trying to chase the money that live service games bring in, because live service games bring in far more money than actually buying the video game itself. And if you don't believe me, even the CEO of EA said it directly. And that quote from the EA CEO says this: "Minutes engaged and money spent correlates to almost a one-to-one basis," Wilson said. "So whether we create the content or a community creates the content, provided it's high quality, provided it's engaging, it represents an extraordinary opportunity for us." And if you've ever thought about why PlayStation...
Yeah, we all know that. Now, let me ask you this. How come Nintendo's not chasing the live service back? How come they didn't redirect and for the Switch 2 and says, you know what, this gen, we're going to have a live service strategy and we're going to focus on that? How come Nintendo is not doing that? Because that's not the Nintendo ecosystem. That's not what Nintendo fan base is asking for. So because that's not really what the Nintendo fan base is asking for, Nintendo's not paying attention to everyone else. Nintendo doesn't give a damn what a Oh No Alex wants. Nintendo doesn't give a damn what me, PorterRock77, wants. Nintendo doesn't give a damn what an Xbox fanboy wants. They don't give a damn. In fact, you try to complain, they will tell you to your face, shut the fuck up, bitch. Who the fuck do you think you are? We're Nintendo, on your knees, start sucking. They don't give a damn about you. They only give a damn about their core audience. And their core audience is not asking for tons of live service games. They want their Marios. They want their Donkey Kongs. They want their Pikmins. They want their Animal Farm. They want their Metroids. They want their Zeldas. They want their Mario Karts. Hell, there's even a bigger pool. They want, Star Fox and all this stuff. And Nintendo's going to give it to them. They're going to give them exactly what they want. Nintendo listens to their audience. Right? Sure, you can say, oh, but, the games are expensive. Listen, the Nintendo audience don't mind. They will say, they even said they'll pay $80. And everybody makes fun of them. But when you think about it, they're paying $80 because they get what they want. They're not paying $80 for games they don't want. They're not being forced to adopt a strategy or something, and they still have to pay $80 for. That's PlayStation. That's Xbox. We're the ones that almost getting forced. Not me, because I'm not buying any of this stuff, right? But just because I don't buy it doesn't mean it doesn't impact me. It still impacts me. Because to make these games, to make these live service games, right? To make these PC ports, it takes resources. So yeah, even something like a PC port, yeah, it impacts me. Nixes doesn't do these ports by themselves. They do it in concert with the main studio. So all those hours and months and weeks, whatever, Naughty Dog and Nix is spent doing ports of The Last of Us on PC, that's time spent away from PlayStation 5 games. All the time any first party does to port a game on PC, that studio's involved. Those are man hours, people hours, developer hours that's being spent on PC and not being spent on PlayStation. Every second taken away is a second that takes longer to make a PS5 game. That impacts me. I have to wait longer now. I have to wait longer because they want to port games to PC. It is what it is. Even now, I think recent, they're showing that Sony banned once again trying to do a multiplayer. So their first multiplayer, they canked. Go right ahead and do another one. And you know what's crazy? Guess what the people are asking? Guess what PlayStation gamers specifically are asking? PlayStation specific gamers are asking, Sony Ben, do a remake of Siphon Filter. That's what we're asking. Do a remake of Siphon Filter. But are they going to do that? No, they're not going to do that. You know why? Because they want to make a multiplayer game. A live service game. And live service games means it could go day and date on PC. A remake of Siphon Filter, at best, is on PlayStation, but then, gets on PC later on. And they don't want that. They don't really want that. They rather make a game that, like you said, could potentially bring in lots of revenue and is day and date on PC. And because of live service, there's an opportunity to put on Xbox. Maybe even Nintendo. Yeah, that's what they want. So no, we can't get Siphon Filter remake. Oh no, we can't. PlayStation gamers can't get that. PlayStation gamers can't get what they want on their PlayStation. No. They got to strategize games that can also include other platforms. Here we go. That's where we're at. Be happy. Enjoy.
Is going this route, this is exactly the reason why. Minutes played and money spent are a one-to-one correlation. Why do you think Ubisoft goes through and tries to time gate you while you're playing the game and then says, hey, if you don't want to spend the time doing this, buy the microtransaction to skip it as well? They know you're going to spend more money because you've got more money than you've got time to actually play. That is exactly the reason these things happen. That is why PlayStation is making these live service games. That is why you are going to see 100% more games from PlayStation that are sitting on the shelf move their little legs over and crawl over to Xbox and put their games on there. That's why they put their games onto PC as well. They want more people buying more products products. And this is not like some weird sort of like copium huffing mentality of like, oh, they're trying to convince you to buy a PS6. Bitch, nobody's trying to buy a PS6. Now with the PS5 Pro costing over $800 after the disc drive, what they're trying to do is say, hey, if you're not going to buy our console to play that game, we're just going to put the game on your platform. It's almost like they've been copying Xbox the entire time. And
no, dummy. What they're trying to do is they're trying to extract more profit from their titles. And that's a Totoki thing, right? He doesn't really care so much of trying to, like, one, there is no competition in the console market. So we got to admit that, right? So there's really nothing. PlayStation 6 is going to get bought. Let's not cap that. Nobody wants a PlayStation 6. It's getting bought, Alex. PlayStation 6 is getting bought. I am telling you. There's people, we don't even know what the PlayStation 6 is. And you could go online, people saying, oh yeah, I can't wait for the PlayStation 6. And we don't even know what it is. And I even said it. Like, bro, you guys already made a decision on a product that you don't even know exists. That's magic words to Sony's ears. They already have products sold and they put no effort into convincing you to buy it. You know what the reply I got? Oh, you expect me to go onto another platform and lose my library? My PS4, my PS5 library? That is so stupid. The PlayStation 6 is already bought, Alex. It's already bought. It's already a top-selling platform, and we don't even know what it is. So if you think, oh, no one's going to buy a PlayStation 6, go ahead. Go ahead and take that bet. You know what I'm saying? People are buying the PlayStation 6. Period, right? What Sony's doing is they don't see a threat in putting more games on PC. They personally don't see that. Their consoles are going to sell. But make no mistake, their number one source of revenue is the marketplace. And this is funny because you keep making this mistake. Alex, Valve is a game developer, and they haven't made a game in years. So how is Valve making so much money? When they're a game developer. They're a game developer. Valve's a game developer, but they don't make games. So how are they making money? It's because of Steam. A storefront. Get a clue. That's exactly what PlayStation is. It's a storefront. That's where most of their money comes in. That's the bread and butter of PlayStation, the storefront.
Man, isn't it funny to see? But what's really wild to see is how inept and incapable the actual leadership of PlayStation in fact is. Look at what Hermen Hulst said.
I agree. They are inept. That's why I call Totoki asshole of the gen. They all suck. They completely lost the plot.
A couple of days ago. According to VGC, Hermen Hulst said, quote, I would like for us, when we fail, to fail early and cheaply. PlayStation Studios head says Concord taught a big lesson. Hermen Hulst says Sony does much more rigorous testing now. Hermen also said, quote, we have since put in place much more rigorous and more frequent testing in very many different ways, he said. The advantage of every failure is that people now understand how necessary that oversight is. Oh, what? We just finished Business Class 101 there, Hermie? Is that what you figured out? Oh, hopefully when things go bad, we fail early. It doesn't cost the company $400 million like Concord did. Why is it that every game has to be this insane graphical powerhouse? You guys literally were doing the one thing you guys sought to do because it worked at one time during the PS3 era.
Concord wasn't even an insane graphical powerhouse. You're mixing up points that don't relate. Concord's not a graphical showpiece. It's not. The reason why it costs $400 million is because the servers, the plans for future content, all that stuff. Concord was not a graphical showpiece at all. Live service games are expensive by its nature of what they're trying to do. Okay? Hermen Hulst is an idiot because he can't admit, listen, oh, we're learning lessons and we're going to take those lessons forward. No, Hermen, you suck. You can't make live service games. Helldivers was just your one lucky gamble. Stop it. Stop it, Hermen. No. Oh, we're gonna learn from our failures. No, you didn't learn from your failures. If you learn from your failures, you would say, you know what? We're simply not good at this. It's going to cost a lot of money, and who knows how many we could end up losing billions in this. And Helldivers may still be the only project worth for hell. Listen, if Marathon doesn't hit, $3.6 billion down the drain. So Marathon is better be huge, because if that game flops, $3.6 billion down the drain. So, yeah, Totoki, Hulst, all them idiots, they're fools. They don't see, you got to know your limitations. You got to know, like, you know what? There's just some things we can do. Let's stick to what we can do. Let's stick to our strength. Let's stick to what people want. It's not hard, man.
And then all you did was milk it dry. You never created anything else new. You never tried new things. You never created other things as well, and then created a market for them and then pushed them up as well. And I know they're going to be like, well, what did What about Astrobot? Yeah, Astrobot. Oh, yeah. Way to go. What? You guys supported that one. 1 million unit sales. Good job.
So hold up. So this is, let me finish.
Way to go. Yeah. You guys sure fucking supported the devs that time, clowns. And
See, you just create an argument for your stupid self. Astrobot is, in fact, something new. But the result is not many people bought it. So what does that tell you, Alex? Use your brain, Alex. Sony says, hey, let's try something new. Let's release Astrobot. 1.5 million. Okay. Let's release Horizon Zero 3. 10 plus million. Okay. Let's release Returnal. 2 million. Okay. Let's release Wolverine. 10 plus million. What does those numbers mean to you? The numbers speak for itself. So you're right. Astrobot could still be successful, right? Because even at 1.5 million, the budget was low. But you could clearly see that's not really a game majority of PlayStation gamers don't want. Do you think Wolverine's going to be stuck at 1.5 million subs? Let's go Wolverine, because obviously it's an IP, it's a Marvel IP. Intergalactic, Heretic Prophet. You think that game's only going to sell 1.5 million? Let's do that. Intergalactic, Heretic Prophet. Brand new IP. Not associated with any IP for Marvel, whatever. Brand new game. Completely new universe. And it's a sci-fi game, something Naughty Dog has never done. You really think 1.5 million, that's all it's going to do? What do you think, Alex? What do you think? Come on, make a video. Hedge your bets. What sales you think this game's going to max out at before landing on PC? Don't even include what PC is going to be, because you know it's not going to be on PC for like a year. It's not even day to day. Just on PlayStation, where do you think sales going to max at? Go ahead. Since this is the games people don't want. Go ahead. I would love to hear a video, or just go on Twitter. Place your bets on Intergalactic. 1.5 million, 2 million, since this is the type of games we really don't want. 2.5 million. Go ahead. Come on, bro.
Funniest part about all of this is Herman Hulst still hasn't learned his lesson. This company is going to be doomed to failure, and people are blaming Hiroki Totoki when the actual blame should be placed on people like Herman Hulst and Jim Ryan from the very beginning.
Totoki's part of that. Like, bro, like, you don't even follow PlayStation, so why you talk about that? Literally, they had a fireside chat, right? And in a fireside chat, with Herman Hulst there, and then the other CEO, the head lead for PlayStation on the hardware side, or really, he's the overall head for PlayStation, right? The moderator fireside chat told them Hiroki Totoki, right, directed the studios to go from a platform enabler marketing tool to now a profit-driven group. Totoki made that decision. So yeah, he gets the blame too. In fact, he's literally the top dog in Sony. They're all following his plans. This is his plan. This is what he wants. He's all about this. So yeah, he's part of that too. I'm not saying that Herman Hulst is not a problem. They're all a problem. But don't try to be like, oh, it's not so much Totoki. No, it absolutely is Totoki. Absolutely, he is the core at all of this. He's the not Satella. Same guy, same thing. The head honcho.
Beginning. Ever since that era, you guys have been losing the actual battle. Hell, I can even place a massive blame also onto Sean Layden, because those three clowns have been walking around and, in my opinion, ruining PlayStation from the very beginning. And in fact, it gets even crazier, because if you think live service is going away from PlayStation, well,
PlayStation was fine. PlayStation 1, 2, 3, and 4 were amazing. Everybody wants that back. Everybody wants that back.
Hope you enjoy your third-party box. Herman,
right? This whole thing started with putting games on PC, which you could say Sean Layden initiated that. So yeah, you could say that whole idea of putting games on PC to attract PC gamers. No, what ended up happening was they put games on PC to make more profit off of PC. That's what ended up happening. To pull gamers, not so much.
Herman Hulst says, quote, the number of live service releases is not so important, he said. What is important to me is having a diverse set of player experiences and a set of communities. Oh, man. If you can't read Corpo, I don't know what to tell you. Do you know what more diverse communities mean? More live service. Do you know what more diverse experiences mean? Yeah. More live service. They're going to keep pushing this. And all you fanboys who are talking all that smooth shit about PlayStation never going third party, baby, there it is. Wake up and smell the napalm, baby. It's over. You clowns, you idiots, you morons have been backing the company that has been screwing you from the very beginning. Watching you...
No, PlayStation was fine from PlayStation 1, 2, 3, and 4. So why would you say, oh, you're backing the company screwing you over? They were great during the 4 gens. Now, and I'm glad you admit that the moment they included your stupid ass platform, they suck. I'm glad you can at least admit that. You can at least admit, now that they're putting games on PC, yeah, they turn to shit. So I'm glad you can finally see that. You can glad and finally see why we want the PlayStation to remain exclusives. You're saying it yourself. Oh, they're third party, they suck. Yeah, we know. We know. We know that going third party doesn't lead to better. In fact, guys like you try to tell us, oh, things going to get better because, you're going to get more games, you're going to get more profits, and everything's going to be great. And here you are talking shit about PlayStation sucks. PlayStation sucks, or at least to you, is garbage because they put games on PC. They're thinking about putting games on Xbox. They're thinking about putting games on Nintendo. So I'm glad you're finally agreeing with us. They should have remained exclusives. That's why you like PlayStation 1. That's why you go back to PlayStation 2 and 3. That's why you go back to that era of when PlayStation great, when they were exclusives. So I'm glad you're finally seeing the light that a multi-platform strategy does not make a platform better. That's why Xbox didn't get better with their multi-platform strategy. And the same thing, the deeper Sony goes into this multi-platform strategy, the worse they're going to get. So I'm glad. Everybody, give a round of applause. Alex finally figured it out. He finally figured out going third party doesn't benefit. Things get worse. It's going to be hard, Luckily, PlayStation have some of the best first-party developers in the industry, but the question is how long, right? My concern is, what if some of those guys start leaving because they just don't like the suits at top, Neil Drunkmans and the Bruce Staley's and all the head figures, right? Cory Barlog, they're like, what? Screw this company, I'm out. What happens if we get to that point? Hopefully, it doesn't get to that point. Hopefully, the culture's still there and they still love, the stuff. But we'll really be in trouble. PlayStation will really be in trouble if those figureheads start saying, yeah, we're out of here. That's when it gets bad. Hopefully, we don't get to that point. But hey, Alex, bravo. Bravo, brother. You realize third party, first party providers going third party doesn't make the first party better. Things do not get better. Getting access to more platforms do not make things better. Does not help the quality of the games. Proud of you, bro. Took a while. It's 2025, but you figured it out. Good stuff.
Clowns talk about, it's only live service games going to Xbox. Well, it turns out PlayStation is only going to be making live service games anyways. So if that happens, those are the only games being published. They'll be third party as well. And I know some people are like, well, Alex, Ghost of Yote's coming out. Oh, yeah, whatever, bro. You want to play that same fucking bullshit again? I bet you do. Look at the graphics of my PS5 Pro. The 5090 could never with my weight tracing. Yeah, fillet yourself all day long while you play that game. Go right ahead. But this,
bro, you play Futanari games. Shut the fuck up. Yo, the audacity of this cat. He plays some of the stupidest games on PC, and he wants to clown Ghost of Yotai. The funny thing is, Ghost of Yotai is the type of games we want. Make up your goddamn mind. Yo, it's crazy, bro.
Thing is this, that bitch is going to be coming to PC as well, 6 to 12 months after release, and when it does, it's going to be funny watching you guys cope and see about that too. And again, this all comes right back to Helldivers 2. The fact that the blueprint is right there for PlayStation, the fact that Factions was right there for PlayStation, and they chose not to do anything with it. The fact that SOCOM is right there for PlayStation, and they're not doing any.
Well, yeah, Factions, that's actually a good thing, because Naughty Dog saw the light. They're like, wait a minute. If we go through this, we're screwed. We're going to have to dedicate our studio to this game. I love the fact that grifters like you and everybody don't want to accept the actual statement the company said to the community. They literally told everyone that it was an ambitious project and they don't have the resources to do Factions 2 and be a single-player studio. It's one or the other. They chose to remain a single player. That's exactly a great decision. Because like you said, the live service decision is stupid. But then when a developer says, yeah, you know what? Live service decision is stupid. We're just going to stick to our single player. Apparently, that's still bad. You guys just want to grift and complain just to complain about everything. No consistency in your thought process.
Anything with it. They have a ton of IPs they could work through. They have a ton of things they could work on, and they choose not to do it. The fact that Hiroki Tokoki himself said that they don't have enough IPs to make games on is the most concerning thing that anybody should be hearing in this entire thing who's actually liked PlayStation at all since the 90s. This game industry is 100%
Well, I agree, but when he means by IP, it's to conform to everybody. Again, they're not listening to PlayStation gamers. You got what you wanted. I don't know why you're mad. This is the only dude that makes a wish, and he's pissed off that he got his wish. You got it. You got your shit talking points. But now you're upset that all the shit you fought for came true, and now you're upset that things are flowing the way they are. We try to tell you, third party, going multiplayer, putting games on more platforms, that shit don't work. That shit don't work. You need a company, first party company is meant, to cater to their own ecosystems and look at that specific community and be like, what does this community want? But no, you want to talk shit. And I understand. I get why you want to talk shit. Because, when PlayStation was exclusive, there was no one better. The amount of game in the years, the amount of top quality games on Metacritic, you guys couldn't stand PlayStation fanboys just talking that shit. You know what that is? To have game after game, to have Naughty Dog win like 200, awards, to have God of War beat out Red Dead Redemption 2. You know, you guys were just sick of that. You guys were just sick of seeing PlayStation, fanboys on the internet just talking all that shit. Because the truth is, it was probably unbearable for you guys because you guys didn't have an answer. PC, y'all guys weren't pushing the games to compete for all this stuff with the shit talking. Xbox been trash since 2013. Even Nintendo didn't really push out those type of games because really, when it came to Game of the Year talks, it was really Zelda. That was really the only game that would win Game of the Years. Everything else just couldn't compete. But then you guys are seeing, oh my God, Ghost of Yotei getting nominations and stuff. The Last of Us winning all these damn awards. Uncharted 4 winning all those awards. God of War coming out, beating out Red Dead Redemption 2. God of War smoking Red Dead Redemption 2. You guys couldn't deal with it. Just back to back to back. And PlayStation fanboys was on the internet running wild. And there was nobody stopping them. Nobody. There was no brand. No brand that was just stopping them. And that was it. You guys just wanted to see all that go away by the games going multiplayer, by this, that, and the third. You let the emotions, and, you let PlayStation fanboys live rent-free in your head 24/7. And now you see the consequence in real life. Couldn't just have fun with it. You couldn't just turn it off and see the bigger picture of the industry. That first parties need to focus on their ecosystems so that way the competition is the games. We want to make games better than you. That's what thrives. That's what created. That's why how first party led the industry. Because they were all like, see these competitors? We got to make games better than these competitors. Now they're like, you know what? We're going to make games. We're going to put it there anyway. So now, what's the flavor? What's the flavor of making the best games possible? Now, of course, you say, well, you still got to fight for my money. But if every game's generic, if every single game is mediocre, then there is nothing to fight about. Unless you're just going to stop playing games. If every game doesn't have that appetite to be the best game out there, then they're all just average games. When every single product is average, there's really no competition to say that game's not worth it, this game's worth it. That's just how it is. That's the new world we're in.
Absolutely cooked. They are trying to charge you too much money for their hardware, too much money for their games, and then nickel and dime you in every live service category they possibly can by offering you more experiences. Even though every game is the same purple, yellow fucking color scheme that you see all the time with the same horribly looking characters that you see all the time. Hell, when you look at games like Marvel Rivals or even Team Fortress 2, those games are still being played today as live service titles. Look at Path of Exile 2. This got a massive update that's bigger than most video games that come.
The funny thing, here's a funny thing. Like Marvel Rivals is pretty much a hero shooter game like anything else. The only reason why it's popular is because it has the most popular superheroes in the entire planet. But when you look at the gameplay loop, same thing, no different else.
Come out today for $70. But the thing is, PlayStation does not know what they're doing. What they should be focusing on isn't live service titles. What they should be focusing on is creating those new IPs that they really want to with smaller budgets and smaller scopes, and then building them up over sequels, and then having more people play them, and then having the spin-off be a live service game from that title that they worked on. But they don't want to do that. They want my cinematics, my movies, my sad dad simulators. And here's what you get over and over again. Herman Hulst wanting to fail early and then fail.
The only issue is the live service games. They're single player first party. Like you're mixing issues. Sad Dad sold 20 million. So the numbers don't lie. If they make a new God of War, you think it's not going to sell, Alex? Come on, we already mentioned this multiple times. Don't mix up. The problem is you don't like those games, so suck it the fuck up. The game's not for you. Deal with it. Oh well. I want a new God of War, and I'm pretty sure 10 plus million people want a new God of War. 10 plus million people want some. You don't like it? Too bad. Make these smaller titles. Watch these smaller titles like Astrobot that sell 1.5 million. So Sony's gonna make smaller titles that sell 1-2 million only for you to make fun of them. Because that's literally what Astrobot is. Like, what are we doing? Even Returnal is a smaller title. 2 million. Now, luckily they create Sorrows. In fact, you better buy Sorrows. Buy a PlayStation, get Sorrows day one. Since you're talking that shit, because Sorrows is a smaller title. So talk your shit. Back it up. I don't want to hear it. Go get it. Support Sony. Support these ideas. Prove to them games like Sorrows is what they should be making and not the big budget games like Intergalactic. Go ahead. Love to see it. Put your money where your mouth is.
Cheaply instead of just trying to not fail at all. Having PlayStation cancel all those live service games, losing heads of studios, losing developers of games, and then going around and dumping millions of dollars into actual failures that you know are going to be bad when they launch, like Marathon and Fair Games. And so you know what? That's what you get, fanboys. You get what you fucking deserve. All the bullshit you've been saying for the last 10 years about everybody else, about PC gamers and every other console gamer, now it's coming back to bite you in the ass. And it's so funny to watch the entire thing fall apart in front of you as you cry, scream, bitch, and moan.
It had nothing to do with me. I didn't like this idea. In fact, I blame you. This is your fault. You wanted PlayStation to be on more platforms, so you need to suck this up. You deal with this shit. I didn't want this shit. I don't want PlayStation to worry about other platforms. I didn't want live service games, but you did. Oh no, I didn't say that. No, you want the PlayStation everywhere, and now that's what they're doing. So this is your fault. Game is shit because of you. You're the cause. You're the disease of this problem.
Moan. So you know what? Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments section down below. Are you playing Helldivers 2 on PC, Xbox, or PS5? I want to hear what you guys have to say, and if you're having a fun time with it as well. If you want to see more of my hot takes in the gaming industry, more PC port reviews, gaming.
There you go. So that's my commentary on this guy. This guy's delusional, right? PlayStation's doing exactly what he wants. He just doesn't like the way it's happening. Too bad. You got what you wish for. You voted for this. Deal with it. Suck it up. Support. Buy it. All that shit talking. Start cha-ching. Start spending more money. Get out of here. Don't bring up PlayStation 1, 2, and 3. Because those are the PlayStations you don't like. Those were the PlayStation era, where it's about exclusives, about the community, about the ecosystem. It was a time when PlayStation was all about, hey, we're going to make the best games to compete on other platforms. It wasn't about, let's make a game, put it out, and then a couple of months later, put it on PC. And then depending on the type of game, it might be on Xbox, experimental, live service. It wasn't this weird strategy. It was straight up, it was simple. We want people to play on PlayStation. We got to create the best games. That's it. We're not worried about anybody else. The cycle, the schedule, the budgets, the rhythm was all about PlayStation, 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 PlayStation. It wasn't about anybody else. Now it's about everybody else to some degree. This game might go here. This game might go here. I'm not even sure what game is going what on whatever when it does happen. And now you don't like it. You think PlayStation is garbage. Gee, PlayStation focusing on a multi-platform strategy, and you think they're garbage. Alex, I'm pretty sure you heard for years that's what happens when first party goes multiplat. It doesn't get better. The brand does not get better. It doesn't. The best we can hope for is PlayStation maintains, but the damn live service strategy is really making it hard for Sony to maintain that level of quality. They need to cut that off at a minimum. Just cut that crap off. Right? But just like you said, live service games is what day and date across multiple platforms. So it's like, it is what it is. Anyway, your only friend is YouTube Street Porter Rock 77. Let me know what you think. Hit up the comment section. Do you agree with what Alex says? Or do you think he's just missing the plot? Right? I think he just hasn't put two and two together. I don't think he's never going to admit PlayStation going multi-platform was the worst strategy. They should have remained as an exclusive first-party entity. Just worry about that. Create great games. People will just go play your great games. He's not going to admit that because he's a PC fanboy. Right? But at the same time, he's complaining about PlayStation putting games on PC. Incredible. Peace.